Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Keefe's Kitchen. This week is a special episode. Why is it a special episode? I'll tell you. Today marks the 1-year anniversary since I started filming and uploading these videos as part of Keefe's Kitchen for my work. Right? If you didn't know that, this is actually what I get paid to do from the Caroline County Public Library, repping the shirt. Okay. But along the way, it kind of turned into something like a passion project for me, something I've enjoyed doing. And I figured that today, in honor of the 1-year anniversary of the beginning of Keefe's Kitchen, I was going to make a cake. We're going to bake a cake, a birthday cake for me. We're going to do a vanilla sheet cake. This recipe is coming from Sally's Baking Addiction, a great food blog. I'll drop a link to the recipe that I used down in the description of the video. And full disclosure, again, I'm all about full disclosure, I've never made a cake before. I've used a box mix, but I mean, I guess that counts. But I've never baked a cake from scratch. So we're gonna do a vanilla sheet cake with homemade buttercream icing. Ambitious? Probably. Is it gonna fail? No, it's not gonna fail. We're gonna do awesome, we're gonna make this great cake. Let's do it.
Alright, first thing I did on my cake baking journey is preheat the oven to 350 degrees, grab some cake flour, right, there's a difference between cake flour and regular flour, and then grab some other dry ingredients. This is a half teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a half teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to add right on top of our cake flour. Again, 3 cups of cake flour. And then we'll add 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. That's a lot of sugar, but we're baking a cake, so I don't know what you expected. Alright, we're going to add all of that to the bowl of a stand mixer. But first we got to sift it. We got to sift it in there. Now, why are we sifting all these things together? Well, I'll tell you. Thanks for asking. It makes sure everything is well incorporated, and make sure you don't have any clumps of baking powder or baking soda or whatever. And it also aerates the mix. So we're going to pop that right onto the stand mixer, and we're going to grab our paddle attachment, which looks like this, and we're going to mix that together on low speed for 1 minute just to make sure we incorporated everything once again. After that minute is up, we're going to add in 1 cup of cubed room temperature unsalted butter. All right, room temperature unsalted butter. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and a half cup of room temperature whole milk. All right, don't skimp out. Don't use that 2% stuff. Use whole milk. Okay. Pop that paddle attachment back on there. Lock it down. Start on low speed for about 30 seconds to get everything nice and mixed, and then beat for about a minute at medium speed. And you'll see everything came together really nicely. This is called reverse creaming, where you're mixing in the fat with the dry ingredients before adding your wet ingredients. Now, this is 3 eggs and another half cup of room temperature whole milk, and we're going to add to that about a 1/3 cup of room temperature sour cream. Now, why is all of this stuff room temperature, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Room temperature dairy and eggs and other stuff helps a lot when you're mixing with butter, because otherwise, if the butter is room temperature and the stuff is cold, it'll cause the butter to clump up potentially and get really grainy. So that's why you do that. So with your stand mixer and paddle attachment back on medium, we're going to add in that egg, sour cream, milk mixture in 3 stages, right? Add it in 3 stages, beating for 15 seconds each time after you add it, and then stopping and scraping down the side of the bowl. And this will allow you to incorporate everything nice and evenly, and make sure you don't overbeat it as you go through. Now, this is after the 3rd addition and the 3rd 15-second increments, and it looks nice and batter-like, which is good. It's not too loose, so it's not pouring out everywhere, but it's also not super stiff like a cookie dough or something. It looks a lot like a batter, which is good, because that's what I was going for. All right, so clean up your workstation and grab yourself a greased 9x11 baking dish. I grabbed glass because glass is the prettiest to serve in, right? Add your batter right in there in a nice even layer, corner to corner. And we're going to pop this in the oven, again, at 350 degrees for anywhere between 28 to 35 minutes. You should start testing for doneness at about 28 minutes. Start poking it with your with your toothpick or your knife blade or whatever. Mine ended up going through about 34 minutes, and as you can see, it looks pretty good. All right, it's really hot, which is why I've got that cooling rack off to the side. And yeah, at about 32 minutes is how long mine took to bake, and that knife came out nice and clean, so that's how I knew that it was ready to go. So we need to cool this completely, all right, completely. I did mine on a cooling rack. You could stick yours in a fridge or freezer or whatever, but you need to cool it completely before you ice it, because otherwise the icing will melt and it'll be horrible. So now we're going to make our icing. This is the same stand mixer, and to the bowl of that stand mixer, we're going to add another cup of room temperature unsalted butter. All right, unless you had any illusions about this recipe being healthy at all, it is not, but it's a cake, so I don't know what you're here for if you're looking for a healthy cake, okay? Beat that on medium for about 2 minutes to cream the butter and make sure everything is nice and aerated. Scrape down the sides, and now we're going to bring out our best friend, the fine mesh metal sieve, and we're going to sift in about 4.5 cups of not granulated, this is caster sugar. What am I doing? This is like powdered sugar. You know, you can make your own if you want with granulated sugar. Just pop it in a food processor for a little bit. But anyway, we're sifting that together to make sure we don't have any clumps, because icing is sweet enough without biting into a surprise clump of super powdered sugar. So anyway, sift that in there, and then once you've got all 4.5 cups sifted in, we're going to add in a 1/3 cup of heavy cream, again room temperature, and 2 teaspoons, okay, not tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Pop that paddle attachment back on there. Start mixing on low speed, okay? Don't make a mistake and do high speed. Low speed for about 30 seconds, and then once everything incorporates, as you can see here, my camera didn't focus very well. I apologize for that, but you can see that it started to come together and look a lot more frosting-like. And still quite yellow because of the butter, but the more you mix it, the more it will look a lot lighter and get lighter in color as well. So mix it for 4 minutes on medium-high speed, and you'll notice here that the volume has increased inside the bowl. The color has gotten a lot lighter, and the mixture has stiffened up quite a bit. So it's not this liquid or anything. That means I didn't add too much of the cream, which is good. So now our frosting is ready. Our cake is cool. It's time to frost the cake. Now I kind of made a mistake here, depending on your perspective. I used all of the frosting on the cake, and that was a lot of frosting, and my teeth and probably my arteries regretted it. Okay, so you may want to use half or less, or all, whatever, you know, depending on your sweet preferences. Looked pretty, but anyway. So then I thought, you know what, let's add some sprinkles. Okay, let's add some jimmies, as they're called. I don't know why they're called jimmies. If anybody knows why, I'm not making that up, okay? That's what it says on the package. It says jimmies, rainbow jimmies. Who knows? Who's this Jimmy fellow? Why did he get his name attributed to sprinkles? I could Google it, but I'm too lazy. So if anybody knows, you let me know. But anyway, decorate the cake to your liking, and yeah, that's it. You're done. Cut yourself a piece, like I did, and enjoy.
All right, my friends, after a long time, it's 9 p.m., okay? The cake is done. Now here's a slice. As you can see, there's a nice layer of frosting, as well as the cake itself, sprinkled. Not bad. Not bad. Now, this is, again, my very first time baking a cake from scratch, and I have high hopes. The frosting is awesome. I already tasted a little bit, you know? I have no idea how this cake is gonna taste. I don't know how it's supposed to taste, how it's supposed to turn out, so I'm gonna learn right along with you. Here we go. Cuts nice and easy. Holds its shape. Happy birthday to Keefe's Kitchen. Let's give it a taste. Thumbs up. Now, this cake is great. The thing I like about this cake is that it's not too sweet. It's sweet, there's a lot of sugar in it, but man, that frosting is light. because of how well whipped it is. I'm really, you know what? This is a nice birthday present. Thank you, me. You're welcome, me. You know, I'm not much, yeah, well, if you guys know me by now, it's been a year, so hopefully you do. You know I'm a savory man, okay? So sweets are a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, but I'll tell you, this is pretty good. And I'm really happy with this. I'm glad I took the time to do it. Now I can say that I've made a cake, and I'll have confidence to try baking a cake for other people, maybe. We'll see. But this turned out pretty great. If you want to make this cake yourself, follow the recipe from the link that I'm going to put in the video description from Sally's Baking Addiction. She's got a good recipe, okay? Go check it out. And yeah, thanks for being here for a whole year if you've been here since the beginning. If you haven't and you're brand new, hello. Thanks for being here for one video. Regardless, thank you guys. And I'll see you next week for a brand new year of Keefe's Kitchen. See you later.